Hello everyone, welcome to this new video on Spring Cloud Sleuth. In this video, we are going to see some of the challenges for request tracing in distributed microservices and how we can perform distributed tracing with the help of Spring Cloud Sleuth. And we'll run through an example code for instrumenting microservice with Spring Cloud Sleuth. And we'll look into the concept of centralized trace visualization using Zipkin server. Now I will talk about some of the challenges for request tracing in distributed microservices. Let us take a typical microservice application architecture. We have users and applications issuing the HTTP request to the API gateway. The API gateway acts as an entry point for the received request, and this gateway directs the HTTP request to the target microservice. And these microservices within the application receives the request, process them, and in turn call other microservices to fulfill the request. Other microservices that are invoked may call few other microservices, and this chain of microservices invocations will take place. Consider a situation where users and the applications that are issuing requests to the API gateway complaining about the errors or slowness in receiving the response for the issued request. Now imagine we have been assigned the task to troubleshoot and find out the root cause for the issue. And let us suppose microservice 3 is the microservice with the issue which is causing the backend errors or the performance issues, but we don't know it yet, and we have been assigned the task to find out the root cause. In this scenario, to troubleshoot the issue, we have to look through the logs, right, in each of these microservice application that are invoked, and filter out the logs for the failures in the request, right. First, to be able to filter the logs corresponding to the each of the incoming request, right, particularly the failed request. First, we need to be able to identify the logs for that particular request, and that too in each of the microservices that are invoked to process the incoming HTTP request. Right? Imagine, right, this gets complicated and tedious to do this because as we may not have a way to identify the logs corresponding to the request, right, in each of the microservices that are invoked as part of processing this incoming HTTP request. And to add to that, we have to consider the fact that the microservices are distributed, and any production grade microservices will have multiple instances running simultaneously for serving the incoming request, the load of the incoming request, and this gets tedious to accomplish the task of checking the logs. So this example has only few number of microservices, but think of the applications having tens and fifties of microservices, and in those number of microservices, to pinpoint exactly the microservices causing the issues and performance related errors. So it gets very difficult for checking through the logs. Now that we got the challenge for tracing in microservices, the next thing we need to talk about is how you can solve the challenge. Okay, Spring Cloud Sleuth to the rescue. Spring Cloud Sleuth helps in generating the identifier for each HTTP request both at the request level, which is end-to-end, and also at each microservice level. Let us take a microservice app and see how instrumenting the microservices with the Spring Cloud Sleuth will help provide identifiers for the HTTP request as they pass through the microservices. So in this microservice, we have microservice 1, 2, and 3. Microservice 1 is the microservice receiving the HTTP request. To be able to identify and generate the identifier, each of the microservices should be instrumented with Spring Cloud Sleuth. Okay. As the input request is received at the microservice, Spring Cloud Sleuth inspects the request and does a series of steps, right? So what are the series of steps that the Spring Cloud Sleuth when an input request is received? So first, it adds a or reuses a trace ID. If a trace ID is not present, it generates a trace ID and adds that. If the trace ID is present in the incoming input request, it just reuses the trace ID. Second thing is it generates a span ID. So, and then if this microservice one in turn, if it in turn invokes few other microservices along the line, so while invoking that other microservices in the HTTP request, microservice one will add a trace ID that is generated, right? So what is the trace ID and span ID? So trace ID is the unique identifier for each HTTP request, and which will remain the same in each of the microservices that are invoked. So this is the identifier at the request level to identify the request end to end across the microservices. Similarly, span ID is unique identifier for a trace at a specific microservice level to group the unit of work or activity done at that microservice level. So as the other microservices are involved as part of serving the HTTP request, right? These steps will be repeated at each microservice by the Spring Cloud Sleuth component within that microservice, right? The steps which I mentioned, these three steps. Only difference is that if a trace ID is already generated and sent along the request, that will be reused. If in case there is no trace ID generated, right, the Spring Cloud Sleuth will generate one, and the remaining steps will remain the same for each of the microservice. The generating the span ID, passing the trace ID in the request header while invoking other microservices. Okay, now we will look into the example code to understand the concept hands-on. So before starting the code, let us look at the application to which we will equip the Spring Cloud Sleuth. So this is the example microservice application, which is an existing microservice application. To this application, we are going to instrument the Spring Cloud Sleuth and look through the request identifiers, the trace IDs and span IDs. It's a very basic, microservice application which will send the greeting message, "Hello world, welcome to CodeGen." Yes, we have 4 microservices within it. Each of these microservices, are invoked and to construct the final greeting message, which is "Hello world, welcome to CodeGen." So hello is the first microservice that receives the input request, and it in turn invokes remaining microservices to construct the final greeting message. It's a very basic act, but I think that is should be sufficient enough to demonstrate our concept of a Spring Cloud Sleuth. Now we will look at an existing Hello World microservice app and add Spring Sleuth to the microservices and see the effect of adding the Spring Cloud Sleuth to the microservices. So this is the example that we have shown in the diagram earlier. So we have 4 microservices, right, running, and I've started them. So to these microservices, we will be adding the Spring Cloud Sleuth, and after adding the Spring Cloud Sleuth, we will see what effect that it has onto the microservices application. Okay. Now let us invoke the 8080 port, which is the starting entry point for this microservice application. So if I invoke it, it responds with "Hello world, welcome to CodeGen." And when I look through the logs, right, here we can see some of the log statements, right, in each microservice. And now I'm going to add the Spring Cloud Sleuth dependencies to each of these microservice application and restart the application and see what effect does it have on these microservices. So to add this Spring Cloud Sleuth to the microservice app, we need to do few steps actually. So the first thing to do is we need to give a name to these microservices in the application.properties, right? For that, I have to add a property like Spring application name. I will give hello to this microservice, which is hello microservice, And the next thing we need to do is we need to add a dependency management section within that pom.xml file, which are for the bomb to add the bomb for the Spring Cloud dependencies. Right, we need to add this Spring Cloud dependencies, right, and add a version number for the Spring Cloud dependencies. I have to add a property in the property section to give the version ID. Okay, so after doing this series of steps, right, we need to repeat the same thing for the remaining set of microservices and then restart the application. Restart all of the microservices in the application. So I'm not going to showcase you repeating the steps for all of the microservices. We will see after restarting the application once we does this same set of steps for the remaining microservices. Okay, I forgot to tell you that I need to add one more dependency here. It is Spring Cloud Starter Sleuth. This is the dependency which is needed, the starter dependency in Spring Cloud Sleuth to instrument our application with Spring Cloud Sleuth actually. Okay, now I'm done with the steps which I have mentioned, right? I'm done with repeating all of the mentioned steps for the remaining set of microservices, and I've restarted all the microservices. So now we'll go ahead and invoke the endpoint again and see what is the effect of adding that Spring Cloud Sleuth. Okay, I have started this and again it responded with the greeting message. Now we will see the logs actually and see what is the effect. Here you can see in the logs, like, right, we have the hello, which is the property that we added. So the next is the trace ID. The third one is the span ID. So for the first microservice that receives the HTTP request, right, both the trace ID and span ID remains the same. And we will check the remaining microservices. You can see for the other microservice, the trace ID is same, but the span ID is different. Span ID will be different for each microservice, but the trace ID will be the same. So this is the name of the application that we have included, right? Likewise for the remaining microservice as well, the trace ID is the same, but the span ID is different. Okay, and this is the identifier that we have added for the in this property. Okay, like this we can generate the request identifiers like the trace IDs and the span IDs. Also, you can observe that all the logs for a given trace ID within that single microservice has the same span ID, right? There are two log statements here in this. Two log statements have the same span ID. So that is used to uniquely identify the uh, microservice specific group of log data for a given trace ID. Now that the app is instrumented with the Spring Cloud Sleuth and we have the trace data appended to the logs, that is the trace ID and the span ID, which is used to uniquely identify the request as, as they pass through the microservices. So that kind of addressed the challenge that we had originally, right? That kind of mitigated the original issue, right? To be able to identify each request, because the requests are assigned a trace ID. With the help of trace ID, we can filter the logs. But still there is some issue, like, right, we still have to look up the logs, right? And in case of any performance issues like request timing out or slowness in the responses received from the backend, right, it is very important to measure the amount of time spent overall to complete the request or to process the request, and also the amount of time that is spent at each microservice. Like adding the Spring Cloud Sleuth to the application does mitigate the issue that we had originally, right? We're not able to filter and identify the logs corresponding to any given request. but it will be beneficial in case of performance issues or any backend errors, right? If there is any unified and centralized place where we will capture all of this trace data and use it to visualize and look up the traces so that we can get the performance of the the each request, right? At amount of time that is spent at each microservice. So all of this data, if there is any central place to visualize and locate and track that information, that will be very beneficial. Okay, we can do the centralized trace visualization if you use Jipkin server in conjunction with Spring Cloud Sleuth. So we will let the Spring Cloud Sleuth send the trace data to the central Jipkin server, which will capture all of that trace data that is sent to it by different microservices running within that application. So we'll see that in a diagram, right? So let us take the example that we had earlier, right? We have these three microservices, right? Microservice one receiving the input request, and we have instrumented each of the microservices with Spring Cloud Sleuth, right? Spring Cloud Sleuth adds this set series of steps at each for each request that it receives. So now what we are going to do is we let the Spring Cloud Sleuth at each microservice send the generated trace data to the centralized Jipkin server which we have here, right? Likewise, each of the microservice each of the Spring Cloud Sleuth component running within that microservice will send the trace data to the centralized Jipkin server. This Jipkin server, through this Jipkin server, we can see the collected trace data and use it to visualize the performance and any error related data as it passes through each of these microservices in a unified interface, right? So we will take the existing application that we had and add the Jipkin server dependency. Jipkin, we'll start the Jipkin server first because we need to run a Jipkin server before we let our application send that trace data to the Jipkin server. And second step we need to do is to add that, let the application send that trace data to the Jipkin server by adding a Spring Sleuth Jipkin dependency to our application. Okay, now I'm going to start a Jipkin server instance, right? It's a very easy, right? We can download that jar from the Jipkin, the website, and we can run it as standalone Spring Boot application as a jar file actually. So I have already downloaded that jar into my local, and I'm starting it by invoking that, running it as a jar file actually. Okay, invoke that, and this will start the Jipkin server. This Jipkin server will capture the trace data that is sent by the application microservice. Okay, it has started and started listening on port 9411. Let us hit that URL and see what it looks like. So Jipkin server has a UI where we can visualize the data, trace data that is sent by the application. Okay, so this is the user interface. So now that Jipkin server is started, so the next thing we need to do is instrument our application to send the the trace data to this Jipkin server. For that we need to add a dependency, right? Once we add the Spring Cloud Sleuth Jipkin dependency, our application microservice application, right, will send the trace data to the centralized Jipkin server that we have started at the default port, and the default port is 9411. So let me take microservice pom.xml file and add the dependency. Okay. Likewise, I have added this dependency, and I will be restarting this microservice. Similarly, I need to repeat the same step for the all of these remaining microservices. Okay, now I have added that Spring Cloud Sleuth Zipkin dependency for the remaining microservices and restarted them. Okay, now we will you know invoke that URL and see, right, the microservices are sending the trace data to Zipkin server and visualize that trace data in the Zipkin server. Okay, I'm hitting this URL again. Now we should be able to see that trace data in this Zipkin server. Okay. Now, as you can see, right, we have one record here, and we can see the trace data and the microservices that we have in this, right? So these names are coming from the property that we have added, right? Spring application name that we have added. So from this, it will give a name, service name in this, the trace data. When you click this, right, you can see the hierarchy of the microservices invocation that happened. Hello is calling world, world is calling both welcome and CodeGen. And the amount of times overall and each microservice right, level, you can see their data corresponding to that. Right. You can also see the span ID here. This is the data that we have for this given trace ID. And if I go into dependency section and run this, you can see the service graph actually. Like, I mean, what are the relationship between the microservices? We can see here. Like hello is calling world, world is calling welcome, also CodeGen. Click a microservice, it shows the, what are all the services it called, like hello is calling world, and also the call count, one call, one and zero errors actually. Like similarly for the remaining, world is calling both welcome and CodeGen. You can see here one call, there are zero errors, and you can see other information as well, like services uses two services like welcome and CodeGen. This service is used by one service, which is hello, right? Which will be very helpful to get the dependency graph as well. Let me hit few more requests and see the trace here. Like all of these are generated. You can see the other detail like the count of spans here, the duration that the request took to complete, right? So likewise, by letting the application send this trace data to the centralized Zipkin server at a place, right? This you can visualize the trace data as it passes through each of the microservices that we had. If you like this video, please do like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. Right? Thank you.